Hello. Do we think, has common sense won the day at the NHS?
Yes, has common sense won the day at the NHS? Yes, so someone seems to have woken up and realised people are more interested in the NHS making sick people better than calling them by the correct pronoun. Health Secretary Victoria Atkins is making changes to the NHS constitution, which will see phrases like chest feeding and people with ovaries outlawed. Even Keir Starmer is getting on board.
To get the clarity, is it right or is it wrong for Rosie Duffield to say only women have a cervix?
Well, look, biologically, she, of course, is right about that.
So do you owe her an apology?
Well,
yes. Do you owe her an apology? This has been somewhat ongoing. But actually, Cressida, the NHS constitution, my understanding is it has to be changed or ratified by the Health Secretary every 10 years.
Yeah.
So it feels like this is coming more from the government and not actually coming from the NHS at all.
Oh, you mean because it's just time? It's just like, it's time to have a look at the lease sort of thing. The 10 years are up.
But it's just that also a lot of NHS leaders are kind of saying, oh, no, we should not do this or there's going to be complications. It feels like it's not coming. It feels like the NHS is still institutionally captured and this is the government going, finally, no, enough is enough. Sex matters.
Right, yeah. So, OK, so I said there was nothing Rishi could do. I mean, this helps, doesn't it? It's time. It's time. That was fun watching that. I'd like that to have gone on a bit longer. I think the bit I was really going to enjoy was when he did or didn't give his apology. That's what I'd like to
Well, also, I think they should have just brought Rosie Duffield in. Yes. We've got Rosie here!
Oh, fantastic. Yes, like a sort of 90s Cilla Blacks.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Matthew, tonight, I'm Rosie Duff.
Yes.
I'm dry ice.
Surprise. What's the question? Has common sense prevailed?
Well,
yes,
I mean, but you say it's got... That's my fear of it. What kind of changes do you know, Bruce, that this might actually make to the Constitution in terms of women's healthcare?
I genuinely have no idea, and I'm not going to pretend that I do, right, because I really don't.
Well, let me tell you.
But on the same episode, Richard Madeley was discussing shoplifting.
OK, that's very good. That's the...
So if you give that a Google, you'll understand what I'm talking about, allegedly. So,
OK, well,
yeah.
I'll head back to Cressida for this question, then. Because a lot of the problems have been...
Primarily, you'll be a woman in hospital and you won't think, are any men going to come into the space? I mean, that's the number one thing, isn't it? We've heard endlessly about women's spaces.
Yes, because at the moment there's been a misunderstanding, and part of that's been through Stonewall and other organisations presenting the law as being, you know, having a sex being gender. Yeah. And that's been the complication. So it seems like by saying no, sex means biological sex, that will seemingly solve a lot of these issues, like language, in terms of chest feeding, and make it actually relevant to biological women again, but also so that women with intimate care, is that correct, that they will now be able to request a doctor or a healthcare professional who is of the same biological sex, right?
Yes, and not be called bigoted or refused service in some cases.
Yeah, and there was a woman as well, I believe, who was raped actually on the ward, and the NHS said, oh, it's impossible, this is a women's only ward, but it turns out it was a trans woman.
One of those things that could never happen that seems to happen now and then.